This is a video for an owner who's having problems with the stud that carries the positive power leads inside the vehicle from the engine compartment. And so I took mine out so I could show him how it's assembled and how it all works. Let me start with the caveat that all of my hardware is brass. From the factory it was steel. I prefer to use brass on all my electrical connections. Not only will it not rust, but it's more electrically conductive than steel is. So this is the stud. This insulator here, you have to insulate the stud because that plate that holds the rear bulkhead connectors is what the rear bulkhead bolt that grounds almost the entire vehicle is attached to. And then from there it goes over to the frame underneath the coolant expansion tank. So you cannot have these positives touching that plate, the mounting plate that holds the bulkhead connectors, or you get a dead short. So that's what these insulators do. They insulate this stud from the plate. And if you look closely, there's two flats. It's not totally circular. There's two flats on this insulator. And they're corresponding flats in that rear bulkhead connector plate. So when you insert this from the interior of the vehicle, those flats in that rear bulkhead plate correspond to those flats, and they hold it still so it doesn't rotate as you're attaching all the other hardware. This is the insulator that goes on from the engine compartment side. And you see it's designed to go over the top of that insulator. And then if you look closely, you can see an impression made in the engine compartment side insulator from the original washer. The original washer was smaller diameter than this insulator, so it was exerting all the clamping force on this flat face. It was a small diameter washer. Well, the strongest part of the insulator is this outside wall. So what I did was I replaced it with a larger diameter washer that will transfer the clamping force to the side walls rather than the face of the insulator. Put a nut on it, and that's what it looks like when you're ready to start putting all your electrical connections on. So in the engine compartment, I put a backing washer. This is the terminal that comes over from the alternator, all your power feeds coming over from the alternator. I put another washer. Terminal is sandwiched between those two washers. Put a nut on it, and that's what it looks like from the engine compartment. Inside the vehicle, this is what provides the clamping force, is this nut here. So you don't need a nut there, but I like to put one on just to stand off those brown power leads that are inside the vehicle from the plate. This is where the rear bulkhead connector plate is, and so this will stand off those power leads. I have plenty of thread. There's no penalty to putting another nut there. Put a backing washer. That's the terminal that holds the brown power leads. Put a washer on the other side. And a nut to hold everything together. And that's what it looks like once it's assembled. Those are the power leads in the engine compartment coming over from the alternator. The bulkhead connector plate is sandwiched between these two insulators. And then these are the brown power leads on the interior of the vehicle, going to all the different places that those power leads go. And that's how the stud works.